my hairbrush. Dude, that's my hairbrush. Why do dogs always take? Oh my god, he's literally eating my hairbrush, guys. You can't make that noise during the video, but still it's all good. I hate when the coffee's not warm enough. My coffee is always cold. So put it in the freezer means it was so scary that we had to put it in the freezer because it was too scary. It's a really funny scene in Friends with Rachel and I can't remember his name, Joey. Hi everyone, it's me, Jess. I'm so excited for today's video. It is spooky season, or spooky season is upon us, you could say. So I've been thinking a lot about all the spooky books that I've read and loved. And I thought it would be really fun to do a tier ranking of the spooky books that I've read ever since I started my booktube channel. So not ever, but ever since I started my booktube channel, because I've read an awful lot of thrillers and horror books, and some of them have been so good. So I wanted to highlight them for the season. Some of them haven't been great. But we'll talk about those when we get into the tier ranking. Grab a coffee or a cup of tea. I'm going to grab my coffee and chat about spooky books with you as I tier rank them. Hope you enjoy. Here are my rankings for these books. I really want to point out that I'm not ranking these books on their literary merit or how good I think they were. I've done that on other videos where I've done wrap-ups and reviews of books. This is more focused on how scary are these books, and so how scary the books are is what's represented in the rankings. So my first tier, like the top tier, is put it in the freezer.
Why do you have a copy of The Shining in your freezer?
Oh, I was reading it last night and I got scared, so.
Next is so that's like really, really scary book. It scared the pants off of me. The next tier is Keep the Lights On. So yeah, I think that's self-explanatory. Next level is spider level creepy. So like if you see a spider, it will initially creep you out or it'll give you a jump scare. But the second to last tier is Spirit Halloween. Spirit Halloween is a shop where you go shopping for kind of trashy Halloween decorations and costumes and that sort of thing. So fun, a rollick, but not excellent, not a masterpiece of horror. And then the last tier is more trick than treat. So that would be a book that either wasn't really scary or was kind of ridiculous and not plausible. I find sometimes books that are really not believable kind of get to the point where I'm not interested in them and they don't do it for me. Books with plot holes that aren't fun. So just too many plot holes or dumb plot holes or plotless or dull or boring. That's basically the levels, and yeah, let's just get into ranking the books. I think I have over 50 books, so I don't want to say too much about each book. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it based on spooky level and just what I remember about reading the book. So A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. I'm trying to remember this book. I think it was pretty creepy. I think there was like a legal aspect to it and there was a pretty good plot twist. It's more of a thriller than a spooky book. So I think I'm going to put it in spider level creepy. Oh, the next is just one of the best books I've ever read, Frankenstein. So Frankenstein is such an amazing book. But on the level of creepiness, I think it's probably at like Keep the Lights On. Like it's pretty creepy. Just the fact that there's this not so human thing wandering around and looking for revenge. Then we have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I read with my book club. Again, Honestly, these are masterpieces. These are like the best gothic horror thriller books ever written. And I found Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde to be extremely creepy, like high on the creepy level. So I think I'll put it in the same category as Keep the Lights On. Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. So Samantha Schweblin, I haven't read anything else of hers. I think her books are really, really scary. The only thing I would say about Fever Dream, like it makes you feel like you're in a fever dream, but it's a little bit confusing. So I'm going to put it in spider level creepy because conceptually it's really creepy, but well, I don't know. There were parts of it that were a bit scary. Maybe I need to put it in Keep the Lights On because parts of it were scary. Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. This is one of my favorite books. It was one of my best books for early on when I started my booktube channel. I think maybe 2022 or 2022, I'm pretty sure. And it's super creepy and it's a thriller. It's really fun to figure out the mystery of it. Again, I think it's like Keep the Lights On. In the Miso Soup, oh my gosh, you guys, this is such a frightening book. Plus it's really gory and it's just such a hugely disturbing book. I'm definitely putting In the Miso Soup up and put it in the freezer. It's a Japanese horror and it was pretty terrifying. Like, it really was hard to read. Other People's Clothes. I mean, this book was such a fun time. It's about these two girls and they're living in an apartment and the woman who they're renting from is an author and they think that she's spying on them. So it's definitely disturbing. I think I would put it in spider level creepy. Confessions. Oh, another Japanese thriller. Oh, this one is really, really disturbing. I think I'll put it in Keep the Lights On. It's about kids bullying other kids. It's just disturbing more than anything else. But it's really, really good. Du Maurier. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Daphne du Maurier. My cousin Rachel. Yeah, creepy. Definitely creepy. But it's not a Keep the Lights On. It's more of a thriller, like what's going to happen next. So I'll put it at spider level creepy. Bunny. You guys know I love Mona Awad. Bunny is one of my favorite books of all time. Bunny is such a confusing book. It's just such a weird book, and it's one of those books where, I mean, maybe I should have put as one of the tiers like messed up. But we are rating things on levels of creepy, and I would say Bunny is probably, I don't know. It's not Spirit Halloween. It's going to be either spider level creepy. It's not, well, is it though? I'm really undecided on Bunny. I don't know where to put it. I think it's because I'm biased by the fact that I love it. So let's put it in spider level creepy. Damned by Chuck, I never know how to say his name. Chuck Palahniuk? I never know how to say his name. I was so excited to read this book. It's about a woman who ends up in hell, a young girl, I think she's a teen or she's in her early 20s and she ends up in hell. And I thought it was going to be really frightening and really good, but honestly, it kind of sucked. It was kind of dumb. I don't know whether to put it in Spirit Halloween because it had its moments. I think I'll put it in Spirit Halloween. It did have its moments, but yeah, I didn't rate it very high. All's Well by Mona Awad. I included some of these books because they're listed as horror and they're thrillers. So I think it's because they're so, I mean, at least with Mona Awad's books, they're kind of horror, but literary horror. I don't know. They're not jump scary, but I feel like they're kind of like creepy. Might be that Mona's books all end up at the spider level creepy, or they could be in the Keep the Lights On, but I'll put them in spider level creepy for now. Let me know in the comments below what you think. How scary are Mona Awad's books if you've read them. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier is so good. It's not necessarily my favorite, but the level of creepy in Rebecca is very, very high because there's this woman in the household. So it's about this young woman who marries a man whose wife has recently died. And the whole story is about how the household is, the cast of her presence is just hanging over the household almost like a ghost. And it's about how this young woman has to kind of navigate that. And it's actually really, really creepy and scary. I think I'm going to put it in Keep the Lights On. The Yellow Wallpaper. This is a short story in a set of short stories, and it's, wow, yeah, it's very short, but it's super creepy. It definitely delivers. I think I'll put it in Keep the Lights On as well. Gillian Flynn, Sharp Objects. Yeah, put it in the freezer. I just feel like, yeah, it's just a lot. That book is a lot. This is a really good one. This is The Italian by Anne Radcliffe. This is kind of like the original Gothic horror, and it's really, really good. It is a little bit dragging in different parts, but again, we're just rating it on level of creepiness. And I think this one is it's got a lot of scary parts to it, and it's got a really good villain. So I would say spider level creepy. Rouge by Mona Awad. So you guys know I love Mona Awad, but Rouge just didn't really scare me. So I don't even know. I feel like it's very Spirit Halloween. Like, you know, it's just kind of wacky, and it just goes kind of beyond. It's not that scary. I didn't find it that scary. I just found it to be hard to follow and a little bit confusing, which is a shame because I am a big fan of hers. Pine. Oh, this was so creepy. This is like a ghost. It's got a ghost element to it. I think it really delivered in terms of the ghost elements. So I'm going to put it in Keep the Lights On. Bad Cree. Really loved Bad Cree, but it was more, I feel like it was more like a family story than it was a horror. It had elements of horror because it's about this girl who wakes up from dreaming, and her dreams follow her into her real life experience. So that I would say it's like pretty creepy. I'm going to put it in spider level creepy. I'm not putting these at the end. Oops. The Other Black Girl. What can I say about The Other Black Girl? It really fell apart for me. It was not as scary as I hoped it would be, and it had a lot of plot holes. So, and it was kind of, I don't know, the plot twist was kind of, didn't work for me. So I'm going to put it in More Trick Than Treat. I'm sorry. Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. This one was pretty fun. I'm going to say this is Spirit Halloween for sure. It didn't scare me that much, but it was a really fun one. My Heart is a Chainsaw. Okay, this was scary. This is the first, I think I have a couple of Stephen Graham Jones books in here, and he's just such a good writer. Again, he's writing from an Indigenous experience, so he includes a lot of Indigenous sort of commentary on Indigenous rights and Indigenous oppression. So that's true for this one, but this one's really fun because the protagonist is a horror film fan. So she writes a lot of diary entries about different scenes from different horror films. And I mean, I don't want to give anything away. The ending is a little bit confusing. I think I'm going to put it in Keep the Lights On. It was really good. And it's a part of a trilogy, so I'd be interested to read the next one. I forget what the next one is called. I think it's called Fear the Reaper. Leave the World Behind. Leave the World Behind was one of my best books of 2022, I think, as well. And it scared the pants off of me. Like, I found this book terrifying. We're put it in the freezer. I know there's people who don't like Leave the World Behind, but it scared the pants off of me. It really and truly did. The Picture of Dorian Gray. Okay, so The Picture of Dorian Gray is just, it's creepy in a certain way. It's just the whole idea of being able to, I don't know, like reverse your aging process. And Dorian Gray himself is it's all very kind of creepy. I would put spider level creepy for Dorian Gray. This I recently read, Fish Swimming in Dappled Sunlight. And it's a thriller. It has like one good twist, and then the rest of it is a little bit implausible. So Oh, I don't know where to put this one because I think it was an interesting book, but in terms of being scary or spooky, there is this tension between the couple. So it's about this couple who, the guy, they go on a hike and their guide falls to his death and they each suspect each other and they're having this conversation over the course of a night. And so there's like a lot of tension there. Between the two of them, and was one of them responsible? But then about midway through the book, we get a twist, and so that tension gets lost. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to say more trick than treat, which is kind of too bad because I think it's not a bad book. It's just not that scary. Lone Women. This book was all over the place for me. It's about a woman who a black woman who moves from her home in California. Something happens to her family that we don't know. There's a fire in her family home and her parents die, I think. And she carries around a trunk with her and there are spirits in her trunk. I'm going to put this one in Spirit Halloween because it's definitely got the ghosts vibes. No exit. Oh my gosh, no exit. I couldn't even put no exit down. Forget about put it in the freezer. It was so scary. It just kept going and going and going with the jump scares and the scary situations. And it's the kind of book where you would scream at it and say, no, stop, stop. Every Vow You Break. Oh, I kind of barely remember this one. This is about a woman getting married, and I remember it being really creepy, and I remember reading it really, really fast. So, and it's about like her husband being not what he appears. I'm going to put it in spider level creepy. The Awasawa Murders. So this is by Riku Anda as well, same author as Fish Swimming in Dappled Sunlight. I found this to be pretty creepy. It was a little bit more mystery than thriller. It's about a whole group of people in a home getting poisoned, like 17 people die. And then it's about a journalist who's writing about the murders. So, and an investigator who's investigating the murders. And the investigator is like a really interesting character. But yeah, I'm not sure. I guess these are, I mean, it's really, really good. I don't know if I think I'll put it in spider level creepy. Spider level creepy or keep the lights on? Maybe keep the lights on. It was pretty disturbing. It has a really disturbing character who suspicion is cast on, but we don't know. She's just a very odd character. I think she's blind. It's quite a disturbing book, honestly, if I think back to it. Night Bitch by, is her name Rachel Yoder? I think. Night Bitch was so good. I found a copy of it in my little book box, and I remember really enjoying this book. But it wasn't like scary in the way that, it was more disturbing. So I feel like it was really good, but it was just kind of disturbing, kind of in the same way that Bunny is. So it's about a woman who is struggling with being a new mom, and she over time turns into a wolf. She keeps craving steak. Oh, Reprieve. This was a fun one. This was very kind of kitschy, Halloween-y. I think it was like kind of like a, oh, I'm trying to remember the plot of Reprieve. I read it such a long time. I remember it being really creepy because it's about a game. Like it has a group of people. It's almost like an escape room game, and it's like a haunted house as well. So it's pretty creepy. It's definitely scary. Yeah, it's a haunted house escape room, and somebody dies in the process of them playing this game. So yeah, I would put this in Keep the Lights On. It was pretty scary. 3. Oh my God, this book was so disturbing. It's not well known, I guess, but it's a literary book, but it's a book written by an Israeli author, but it's about this man who, it's so disturbing. Honestly, I think I had put this one and put it in the freezer. This is one of the scariest books I've ever read because it's about this man who murders several different women, and it's terrifying. It's written in sort of 3 sections about 3 different women on how they end up getting killed and how they meet this man, and how it's terrifying, actually. Super scary. Yeah, Rabbit by Terry Miles. This was just kind of fun. This is like you're in a video game and you're trying to find your way out of the video game. It was very fast paced. It was very fun. It was really good. But I think it was more like an adventure. So I'm going to put it in Spirit Halloween. Tell Me I'm Worthless. This book was so good. It was super disturbing and very creepy and had a lot of gore. I think I'm going to put this one in Keep the Lights On. It was so scary. Yeah, so it's about this friendship between, friendship or love affair between, I think it's a trans couple. I'm trying to remember. I've forgotten a little bit of it, but it's definitely got a lot of social commentary, but it's also there's a lot of violence in this one. So Keep the Lights On. Killingly by Catherine Buettner. I recently read this for a historical fiction readathon this summer, and it's kind of dark academia about a murder that took place of a woman, and we just don't know anything about it. We don't know if it's a suicide. We don't know if it's a murder. It has a few different twists. I would put it in spider level creepy. The Trees. I had to put The Trees in by Percival Everett because it is a thriller. It does include a ghost, the ghost of Emmett Till, and it's deeply disturbing, of course, in terms of having a social commentary. I would say The Trees is like, oh, definitely Keep the Lights On. Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. This is about a boy who he keeps running into the ghost of his father. This is definitely Keep the Lights On. The Sanatorium. Oh my God, The Sanatorium was so bad. You guys, this was not a good book. I'm going to put this in more Trick or Treat. Every twist and turn, like I was so excited to read that book, and it just was so disappointing because nothing made any sense. It wasn't very well written either, so. The Rabbit Hutch. So I read that Rabbit Hutch and I read Rabbits by Terry Miles. I read them together in a reading vlog. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. I really think upon further reflection and the passage of time, Rabbit Hutch was pretty good. It had some plot holes. I thought it was creepy. I'm going to put it in spider level creepy. Yeah. The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. I'm a huge fan of Sarah Gailey's, and this was about cloning, and it was super creepy. It wasn't like put it in the freezer level, but it was definitely Keep the Lights On. They Never Learn. This book was so good. This was such a good thriller. Also in an academic setting. Very feminist. It has a twist in the plot that I didn't see coming. It was really good. In terms of scary, yeah, it's Keep the Lights On. The Only Good Indians was really good. Stephen Graham Jones, again, I think, The Only Good Indians, I don't know, man. I feel like it's put it in the freezer for me. I found it really scary. I found it really scary. Like some of the scenes I was like some of the scenes in The Only Good Indians, I was really like I don't know, like I was on the verge of like screaming. Maybe I should have put On the Verge of Screaming as one of the tiers. Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This is the only Riley Sager I've ever read, and I have to tell you that it kind of sucked. So it's more trick than treat. I don't know, these commercial thrillers, sometimes they're really fun and they work. Like, I think that Grady Hendrix is really good at making this kind of commercial thriller, but, oh, now I'm feeling like I need to put Damned down in more trick than treat because of the other ones that I have. So yeah, I've just moved Damned down. Damned is more trick than treat. So changing my rankings as I go. I reserve the right. Yeah, some of these commercial thrillers are just kind of meh. The Reformatory, I read that one this year for the BookTube prize. It's extremely good. But in terms of creepiness level, I think it's Keep the Lights On. There's some definitely very disturbing parts in this one. It's about a school for boys. It's based on a real place where kids were sent who misbehaved, broke the law, and it's about specifically how black kids were treated and put into these special schools, and then they were, of course, abused and beaten. And there's a ghost element to the story of the reformatory as well, so definitely keep the lights on. The Body by Stephen King, amazing, amazing book, so well written, loved it. Was it really creepy? No, it really wasn't super creepy. I think I'll put it at spider level creepy. In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. I read this one a long time ago. I remember being really excited to read this one and then kind of being a little bit disappointed by it. I mean, it's a fun book. It's a fun time. It's like about going back, and it's about going back to high school days. This girl, I think her name is Jessica, she goes back to her high school days, and they're trying to revisit what happened when somebody was killed. A friend of theirs was killed, and the friends in the friend group are suspected. So I'm going to put it in Spirit Halloween. Oh my God, The Haunting of Hill House. Put it in the freezer. This is such a scary book. It's like the original haunted house book. I'm sorry, but it's Shirley Jackson, and she just knows how to make you really scared. I read that one in a vlog along with Pine, and I can't remember what the other book was that I read in that vlog, but I'll leave it linked in the description box below. Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. I remember it being pretty good. It's another kind of, it's got really good creepy vibes. I feel like the spider level creepy also is about a vibe. I remember this being really good. It's about the murder of a couple and about a girl who's suspected, and it takes place in this very small knit community called Hollow's Edge. And it's gripping. I remember it being really gripping. I remember it being really good. Maybe we'll put that in Keep the Lights On. Yeah. And Then She Fell by Alicia Elliott. I've already talked about this book a few times. It was nominated for the Women's Prize this year. It was included on the long list, and it was so good. And I'm so happy that it got that recognition. And it definitely has horror elements to it. It's about a woman an Indigenous woman who's married to a man who is a professor, who's an expert in her I think she's Mohawk. Sorry if I get it wrong. I can't remember if she's Cree or Mohawk. And he's studying her culture. And it's just, there's a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of very subtle microaggressions and gaslighting. And it's actually really, really good. I'm going to put this one in Keep the Lights On. Home by Sarah Gailey. This is a haunted house book. A lot of people kind of panned this book when it came out, but I found it to be really scary. I'm put it in the freezer. It really scared me. Hello. Put it in the freezer. Where are we going? Come on. No, not Bunny. Bunny is only... Where is Bunny? Oh my gosh, now I'm losing track. Oh yeah, Bunny's with Allswell. Oh, come on, guys. Okay, put it in the freezer. Yeah, that's a scary book. The house itself is the character. Like, I know the house itself is a character in The Haunting of Hill House as well. There's something about houses that are haunted that I guess really freak me out. So haunted house books are scary for me. The Anthill. This was, when did I read this? I think I read this in another vlog at Christmas time. I think I read it for the Reindeer Readathon. And it was also really good. It's set in Colombia, and it's about a woman who moved away from Colombia to the UK and has moved back 20 years later and is kind of revisiting her past. But she has a best friend who was adopted into her family or taken in by her family. And he started a daycare, and the kids in the daycare start acting really weird. It's super creepy. I think I'm going to put this one in Keep the Lights On as well. Oh, why am I having trouble right now? Oh, it's because of the ads. Yeah, I'm putting this in Keep the Lights On as well. No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. Oh my God, this book was so scary. This book was terrifying and really, 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 really good. It was really good. It was scary as I remember it. It's about a woman. It's about a woman who inherits. It's about gentrification, but it's about a woman who, and it's about the gentrification of Harlem, but it's about a Black woman who inherits property, and she's trying to figure out how to make sure that it doesn't get taken away from her because the system has kind of indebted her family. And then I think there's like a mental hospital as well. And I don't remember all the details, but I remember one scene has stayed with me where she's getting a ride from like an Uber driver, and it was so terrifying. I don't know if I should put it in the freezer or keep the lights on. I think I'm put it in the freezer. Put it in the freezer. It was really scary. Archer of Night by Mariana Enriquez. I talked about this as being one of my best books from last year. It's such a good book. I really love this book. It's quite a long book, and parts of it are extremely creepy. It has different sections that are, some are more Stephen King-esque, some are more dark academia vibes, some are more like occultish. I think I'm going to put it in Keep the Lights On. It was pretty scary in parts. The Maiden. Oh, The Maidens. This book was not good. I was really excited to read it. And it's like, a lot of people really love it. It's like this commercial kind of dark academia book, but it didn't work for me at all. It was more trick than treat. Oh my gosh, you guys. I can't believe that I thought that this was the yellow wallpaper. It's because it has a yellow cover, but the yellow wallpaper is here. So I'm going to have to switch those two out. This is Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. And although I will say that I think Jamaica Inn actually is in this category, Keep the Lights On, it's for different reasons. Like, it has such amazing vibes, such creepy vibes. Actually, I'm torn between, no, it's definitely Keep the Lights On. So it belongs in that category, but it's not the yellow wallpaper. So let's put the yellow wallpaper where it's supposed to go. Whoops. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's put the yellow wallpaper where it's supposed to go. They have similar covers. Sorry about that. I was trying to get covers. I was trying to choose covers that I would be able to identify as small images, but yeah, so Jamaica Inn was the first Daphne du Maurier book that I read, and I love it so much. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and it's so creepy, and it's got a good amount of scary to it. It's about this girl growing up in an abusive home and how she overcomes that. There's more to it, but I'm not going to give more of the plot away. But anyway, yeah, I think it belongs in Keeps the Lights On as well. It belongs in Keep the Lights On as well. Again, this is level of scary that we're ranking here, not level of how good was the book, as I mentioned before. Wayward. So I read this one for Straya September, I think last year. And it's pretty creepy. It follows set in 3 different times with 3 different women's stories, and they're interconnected, like they're related to each other. One is modern, one is in, I think, the 50s, and the other is back in the time of the Salem witches. And yeah, it's got creepy vibes. It's got supernatural vibes. Again, I think Keep the Lights On is probably going to be my biggest category here. So I have 2 more left. It looks like Keep the Lights On is my biggest category right now. I'm just going to try to see if there's anything that is scarier than I thought or than I remember, but I don't think so. I think this is pretty good. Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman. This was like a really good thriller. I remember it having a lot of plot twists and being a really good thriller. Catherine Steadman is actually... I'm going to put it in a spider level. Creepy. she's actually an actress from Downton Abbey, and she started writing books. And I just remember being so impressed by her writing as a thriller. I was like, wow, she can really write. And then I got her next one, and it wasn't quite as good. So yeah, I was really impressed by Catherine Steadman, actually, Something in the Water. It was her first book, and it was really good. And then after that, Mr. Nobody and the other ones, I think I picked up one of them, and I don't remember reading it, and I don't have it here in the ranking, so I don't think I finished it. I might have DNF'd it. House in the Pines. This is the last one. Ugh, this was such a bad book. Wait, where did it go? Where did you go? What happened? What's going on? Okay. So The House in the Pines. Oh, this was such a bad book. I'm going to put this in more trick or treat. More trick than treat. This book had so many problems with it. It had like a problematic, dysfunctional female character with like a strange backstory about her relationship with her father. And she was in this really bad relationship, and then she goes to this cabin in the woods, and yeah, and there were so many plot holes. It was just not good. Okay, I don't want to bash it, but anyway, so there we have it. These are my rankings. I wonder if I need to change anything. No, I don't think so. In the Miso Soup and 3 are two relatively unknown books that I found at one point when I was looking for creepy books, and they were really, really scary. Okay, that's it, guys. That's my those are my rankings. I'm pretty happy with these rankings. I mean, in terms of put it in the freezer, definitely No Exit, definitely Leave the World Behind, definitely Sharp Objects, definitely the 2 haunted house books. No One Is Watching is really scary. I think I could probably move it down to Keep the Lights On. It's pretty good. It's really scary. 3 was terrifying. I almost like couldn't finish 3. So scary. And in the Miso Soup, yeah, it was super disturbing. But I guess it really depends on what scares you at the end of the day, like what makes you the most frightened. I definitely have more spooky books on my radar that I want to read. There's so many good ones that I've been hearing tell of, but this was really fun to do. It's my first time doing a tier ranking video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you have some ideas now for books to read for spooky season. It's always a fun time to read a really scary book. And I have read The Shining. I read it when I was 13, when I was at away camp, and it scared the bejesus out of me. And I am in full agreement with Joey. I would have put it in the freezer for sure. One of the scariest books I've read, that's for sure. Thank you so much for watching this one. I had so much fun doing the tier rankings of these books. So many good thrillers that you could pick up in here. Anything in the categories from, I would say, even Spirit Halloween all the way up. Like if you're really just looking for some spooky vibes, you could pick up one of the Spirit Halloween books. I know a lot of people loved In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I just didn't love it as much as everyone else. But yeah, most of the other ones are pretty good. Some of them are a little bit more on the mystery side. Some of them are a little bit more on the horror side. Some of them are a little bit more gothic. I have classics in here as well. There's a real mix of different books. But I hope that you found something that you think would be a fun read for the spooky season. If you're curious about spooky recommendations, I made a video last year where I made some spooky book recommendations. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. What happened? The screen recording already stopped? Why is it only for 5 minutes? Oh my god. Okay. Let's start it again. That's ridiculous. Okay. New movie. Bye.